This is Stephen Janis. You know, we have spent several days here on the floor of the Republican National Convention talking to people, how they feel, listening to some of the policy proposals. And what you get here is really much more like a religious ceremony than is a political convention. People are rapturous, people are emotional, people are accusatory.
We never raise the temperature. All of the violence and the rage and the hate comes from the left. The thing is, now they tried to kill our men.
Wait a second, that young man was a registered Republican.
Means nothing. He's 20 years old. I remember.
Wait a second. There were interviews with his friends in high school who said he was conservative.
Well, let's anybody who would try to shoot any president or any candidate, anybody who would try to shoot anybody with a sniper rifle is psychotic.
Our country loves you. Our country appreciates you. Our country misses you.
When you say we're already at war, who do you believe you're at war with?
Well, for instance, on I believe it was March 8th, 2023, CDC Director Redfield gave testimony to Congress that the DOD, he implicated the DOD in the COVID operation. He said that the military took over the labs in September of 2019. So I would say within our own government, we're being attacked.
It was not a surprise. It was expected because the Democrats have ratcheted up the rhetoric of killing and assassinating Trump. Even Biden said it's time to put him in a crosshairs and a scope.
Now, Trump has his own rhetoric that is somewhat incendiary. How do you respond to people who say, well, he's also been talking about stuff like this?
Well, Trump has never incited violence, so people be violent against other individuals.
What about January 6th? What about that?
January 6th? That was an insurgent by lots of feds, which we now know, and they were doing the violence and got other people to follow with them.
Everybody to put a fist up in the air! Everybody get a fist up in the air! Now follow me!
All the assassinations that have happened in American history, with the exception of JFK, all right, JFK and his brother, who I think in modern political parlance would be Republicans. All other assassinations were Democrats killing Republicans. I think that there is a legitimate thread that can be tied from Lincoln to this past Saturday, that when Democrats don't get their way, they tend to shoot Republicans. When Republicans don't get their way, all right, they tend to show up in a group and redress their government. They protest to redress their government, and sometimes they do so angrily.
I also spoke to all three families of these tremendous people.
They're welcome. We welcome every American, every ethnic, and you can see here there's more minorities than I've seen when I went to the last election. But you got to do it the right way, or they can file under 1325 or 1326. If you get caught, then you go back. But if you
Isn't our system very much backed up now? There's a wait list of years. You said your parents were able to do it the right way. I don't know if that's possible for people to do it the way your parents did.
Well, one of the ways to do it financially, instead of spending money on all these other things, priorities with a trillion debt, we invested more in hiring the proper people on the border. We hired the administrative agencies to do it the right way.
President Trump brought up black jobs. Did you find
Yeah.
that offensive at all?
Yeah, actually, I thought it was offensive with all the black people and white liberals that actually found that offensive because nothing of what he said was offensive. He was talking about black jobs in urban communities. Those are typically occupied by black and brown people. Those are black jobs. So, you know, this gaslighting that we have right now, I actually just put up a post. And the post, I'm just surmising here, it said, basically all these black commentators that keep saying that there's not a lot of black people here at the Republican National Convention, that is the most hypocritically gaslighting statement I've ever heard, because this is literally coming from people that have ostracized themselves from the Republican Party, from half of the country, and to be making comments like that makes no sense. But common sense black people are here, and I'll make sure we diversify our political affiliation.
Our reserves were full. They're now empty, so now we have to fill the reserve, as well as is open up our oil production so that we can become oil independent in America. I think, there's so many more I could talk about, but America first.
The thing is, when I think of Hawaii, I think of its natural beauty. But when you say drilling for oil, I also know that there is some destruction that can occur to beautiful areas. Does the Republican Party all support like alternative sources of energy? I mean, we've got Elon Musk in this country making electric cars. I mean, is it just drill, baby, drill, or do you support, let's say, more green technologies?
I support it, but I want you to think about it logically. There is waste involved. We have these beautiful large windmills down at South Point in Hawaii. And what happens is the huge bases on these things sit on the ground near the ocean and rust out. So how is that green energy?
Thank you so much for watching the Real News Network, where we lift up the voices, stories, and struggles that you care about most. And we need your help to keep doing this work, so please tap your screen now, subscribe, and donate to the Real News Network. Solidarity forever.